enhance, 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 enhance. Hey everybody, welcome back to Channel Stu Clark. Well, Nikon once again has absolutely hit it out of the park with firmware 3.00 for the Nikon Z8. It's so amazing how Nikon keeps updating these cameras. You know, the Z8, when it was first released, was an amazing camera, and as they've updated these firmwares, they've added more and more features that just make them such incredible tools. With firmware 3.00, there's two, I would say, main features that are updates. One is the focus limiter, the in-body focus limiter, which unfortunately I shoot with FTZ mounted lenses. I don't actually own a Z lens at the moment, so I can't take advantage of that one. But that is a great new feature. I'll see if I can get my hands on a Z lens in the next week or so here, so I can give you a full demonstration of how to set that up and how to utilize it. But really cool feature. Today we're going to take a look at one of the other features, which do you need it? Not really. Is it fun to have? Absolutely. And this is the pixel shift, where you can now use it in conjunction with focus shift or with exposure bracketing. If you're not familiar with pixel shift, I've done a video on it back when it first was announced. And basically what pixel shift is the sensor moves one pixel between shots. And then you combine it, we can either take 16 or 32 shots, and then they get combined in Nikon NX Studio, and you end up with a 180 megapixel photograph. Fantastic. Now you can actually use it with focus shift. Late last month, I did a video on using my 200 to 500. So basically using a long lens, one of these, the mega zooms, which are just incredible for that close focus photography, not macro, but close focus. Well, now you can use the pixel shift in conjunction with focus shift. It's insane. The photo quality is mind-blowing. 45 megapixels is more than enough for 90% of what you do. But now you've got it where this essentially becomes a 180 megapixel camera. And I'm sure a lot of you haven't tried it. It's kind of like, come on, it can't be that good. I'm using mediocre glass. I've got sharp versions of it. I've got the 200 to 500, and I've got an 18 to 35, but they're definitely not the best. They're definitely not going to compare to a high-end Z lens. Well, now, if you were to use this with like the 105 prime, any of the prime Z lenses, the potential image quality is going to actually rival medium format. It's incredible. Like, it really is. If you haven't tried it, highly encourage you to give it a go. So in today's video, we're going to go through, I'm going to do a full walkthrough. I've got some great subjects in the studio. So we'll have a look at the focus stacked shot of the three different subjects, and then we'll look at the pixel shift shot, and then I'm going to do a full walkthrough of how to set it up in camera, set up in the subject, how to combine the pixel shift photos in Nikon Studio NX, and then how to make the final focus stacked pixel shift shots in Photoshop. If you've got the situations where you want to make a 6x8 foot print for your wall, this is the way you want to do it. If you've got static subjects, this doesn't work with any movement. You definitely need a static subject. It definitely takes quite a bit of time to take the pixel shift and the focus stack. So basically what's happening is, with the pixel shift, it takes 32 photos as it shifts. Then depending on your focus stack, you can take anywhere from 1 to 300 photos for the focus stack. It takes 32 images at each one of those focus shifts. So with focus shifts, you can take from 1 to 300 shots, and you can adjust how much the focus shift is between shots. And with the pixel shift combined, it takes 32 shots for every one of those focus shifts. And as the thumbnail says, you're going to need a bigger hard drive, because boy, they add up, but the quality is phenomenal. It makes it so that these speed demon cameras, these cameras are such fast action, great cameras for, now you've got a camera that if you're trying to take, ultra high quality studio photos, you can do it with this. And, landscape photos, architecture, your potential for just getting absolutely top-notch photos are now available to you, where you can just, it's amazing and just so much fun to play with. Like, whenever this the firmware gets updated, it's so exciting to be able to get your hands on the camera. It feels like a new camera, new toy, without having to go and spend a bunch of money. 2 thumbs up to Nikon. Let's jump on the computer. We'll just get into the studio now, and we'll go through. I'll walk through how to do all the pixel shift combined with focus shift. Right on. Let's get into it. So, under photo shooting menu, you can see you've got pixel shift shooting and you've got focus shift shooting. So with the pixel shift shooting, if you go down to options, you now have the option of AE bracketing. So you're able to actually shoot exposure bracketing for pixel shift. So you can actually shoot, you can actually bracket the shot as well as doing the pixel shift. Or you have the option of focus shift. So for this one, we're going to use the focus shift. So we're going to leave that one off. We're actually going to go to the focus shift shooting menu. So we're going to go to focus shift. Same thing, we're going to scroll down to options. And now we've got the option of pixel shift shooting. So with pixel shift, you've got the option of either 32 or 16. The 32 is what I'm going to recommend using, and that allows you, that actually gives a higher dynamic range and more color to the shot. It is a larger file, obviously. You're taking 32 photos at each focus shift, but you end up with a higher quality image. So we're going to use 32. We're going to interval to next shot. We're going to make that 0. We don't want to have little movement as possible in the whole scene. So now you'll notice under options, you've got pixel being on, which is great. If you watch my previous video when we discuss focus shift shooting, I found that I go through on how to test with a long lens, how to adjust your focus shift. With this lens, I'm shooting the Nikon 200 to 500 with an FTZ adapted. A focus step with the 4 is generally going to be enough where you're not kind of overstepping your depth of field. For this one, because we're going for highest quality possible, I'm going to step it down to 3 just to make sure that I've got it nailed. But one thing I'm going to do first, one thing I'm going to recommend before you do the pixel shift, we're going to go to focus shift. We're going to turn off the pixel. And what I would recommend you do is I've got a number of shots set at 10 right now. That was for the daisies. That's not going to be enough. I'm going to bump this up to 15. And it's going to do a real quick shot here. We're just going to start this, and we're going to do 15 shots at a focus step width of 3. And we're just going to start this real quick and just have a look at the last photo in the series. So you can see how the stem at the background is not in focus. So we need to increase this. So we're going to bump this one up now. Let's go to 20. Actually, let's go to 25. Hit OK. With the FTZ adapted lens, it won't refocus. Dip the focus back in. Just want to be a hair in front. Got 25 shots, focus step width of 3. Okay, let's hit start. Okay, it looks like we are beyond the flower now for focusing, so that looks good. Okay. Want to make sure we're focused on that flower at the front there. That's the one we just tested off of. So zoom right in and we'll just focus just this side of that. Perfect. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to go to focus shift shooting. One thing we're going to check first, we want to make sure that we have the first frame exposure lock, so that way it doesn't change exposure after the first shot. Interval 0, that way it shoots consecutively. We're going to have the options. We're going to put this to pixel shift. I'm going to turn that on now at 32. Okay. One important thing here is make sure you have new folder on for focus shift shooting, starting storage folder. This way it makes a new folder every time you're starting a pixel shift. Makes your life a lot easier. And this will also now incorporate all of the focus stacks into this one folder with the pixel shift. Okay, we're done. Menu, hit done. Okay, pixel shift is on, and we're going to hit start. Okay, so let's have a look at how we get these files into Nikon NX Studio. We'll perform the pixel shift, and then we'll just give you a full demonstration of how to do the walkthrough in Photoshop to give you a 180 megapixel stacked image, pretty amazing quality. Ideally, you want all this done on an SSD, especially for the initial import. I wouldn't actually import these files into Lightroom. Just you've got like the one stack is 800 images, and you're not going to need all of those shots once you perform the stack. So I definitely put this on its own SSD, own folder. Because we had that new folder checked for each pixel shift, it's really nice is that when you open up the card, so we go to the Nikon card here, there we go. So when we click on the card, we go to the DCIM, you'll see how I've got all these folders now. So this basically creates a new folder for every pixel shift series. What's really nice is it's not just for the 32 shots. If you've got a focus stack shot series as well, so I've taken 25 shots times 32 for the one big stack here. When you double click on that, you'll notice here there's 801 images in that folder. So this is kind of the big stack, and then we've also done it where I have got a smaller stacks as well, just to kind of give some reference images. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is we're just going to click on the DCIM. We're going to go 134 to 137. We're just going to select them all. And then I have been working on a pixel shift series here. So we're just going to drag all of those off the card right now. You want to make sure you do this because if you open NX Studio with the card in place, it'll want to default to the import of the card. So you might do all of this and realize you've done it off the card, and depending on how fast your CF Express card is, it might be a little bit slower than doing it off an internal SSD. Okay, great. So we can close that down. Let's just close Photoshop down for the time being. Sometimes having Photoshop in the open, you have to be really careful. If it hasn't, if you've done a bunch of work, it might not have cleared the memory there. And also Photoshop, for me, I've got it set where it can use 80% of my RAM. So if you've got it open, other programs might not have access to all the RAM. So something to keep in mind, if you're doing big processes, sometimes you want to make sure you close down Photoshop and Lightroom if you're not using it. Okay, so now we're going to go to, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to pop the card out so that NX Studio isn't reading the card. So let's go to, I'm going to click on NX Studio, and we're going to open that up. NX Studio is a free program when you buy a Nikon camera, so if you haven't got it on your computer, you can definitely download it, no problem. So now we have got the folders that we utilized for this shoot. So what you'll notice here is it's got pixel written underneath these images. So what's really great with NX Studio, it recognizes that these photos were shot as a series of pixel shift shots. We're going to scroll down to the bottom. We're going to shift click to select them all. We're going to go up to File. And you're going to see Perform Pixel Shift Merge. So this is basically taking all those pixel shift shots and then merging them into one. It's nice with this is that I've got 800 photos selected here. So this is the entire pixel shift shot with the focus stack. But you'll see what happens here is it's broken each one of those down into the 32 shot pixel shift. So it recognizes which of each of those series were shot for focus shift. So each focus shift is going to have 32 photographs photographed for each focus shift. And I took 25 shots for the focus shift in order to get the entire flower in focus. So basically you scroll down here and it's basically we're creating 25 different pixel shift images that once they're shifted, we will then open them up in Photoshop to perform the focus stack. We're going to merge, we're going to generate one image. So what that means, we're going to generate one image for each of those 32 pixel shift shots. So you want to make sure that's checked. Bit of chromatic aberration correction, leave that on. Destination, make sure that's a fast hard drive with space. And then you want to make sure that all of these are checked so that it's doing the pixel shift on all of them. So we're going to hit start. And this will take on my computer for, it probably takes 6, 7, 8 to 10 minutes. It is a bit time consuming. So this is not something you're gonna do every photo shoot, but this is definitely, I think it's a fun process to do. Architecture, fine art, so kind of a fine art macro like we're doing here with the flower is a good example. Definitely for landscape photography. You don't want to have any movement. Any sort of movement will affect the pixel shift for sure. So you want to make sure that has to be a fairly static environment. Right now I'm shooting in my studio in a light box basically. And so it's kind of great for that. Having said that, with flowers, you will notice they will wilt a little bit over time. So you might have a little bit of shift in that. Okay, so now this has created the pixel shift files. So if you look, you will notice that there are every 30-second one is NFX. So this is basically now created that pixel shift for each of those focus shifts. Okay, so now that that's done, we can actually close down Studio NX and we're going to open up Photoshop. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go down to scripts and we're going to go load files into stack. So this is important. So we're going to go to load files into stack. We're going to browse 136. Okay. Sort by type. So sort by type, and then we get the NEFX, which are the pixel shifted files that have been combined. And we're going to open them. We've got the 25 NEFX files here. And we're going to hit OK. So this one here, you've got options where you've got, see where it says attempt to automatically align source images. I think that's best left to the next step instead of trying to do it all at once. I think you want to try and get these open in Photoshop. And then you can, you might even want to consider saving them at that point, especially if you haven't done this before. A lot of this is very intense on the computer. Keep in mind, this is 25 180 megapixel files put into one image in layers. So it ends up being a huge file. So I find that the alignment is something that can take a while and does potentially crash your computer, so something to keep in mind. You could definitely create a smart object after loading layers. I personally don't really use smart objects that often. I should. It's something I really should start to utilize more. But for the sake of this, we're just going to leave that up to you. So we're going to hit OK. So now this is opening up a single file with 25 layers in it. So we're not, instead of opening up each of these images separately, we're opening up all as one file with 25 layers on it. This will take a bit of time. Again, 5 to 10 minutes, depending on the size of the stack and the speed of your computer. And like before, when utilizing Photoshop, you want to make sure it has access to as much RAM as possible. And also you want to make sure that you close down any programs that might be using up some RAM. You definitely want to make this as kind of exclusive to Photoshop right now, letting it utilize all of the system resources. So now we have the 25 pixel shifted, focus shifted shots loaded up into Photoshop here. So you can see how there's 25 layers here. So now what we're going to do, we're going to click and we're going to select all of the layers. Make sure you got all of them at the bottom, depending on how many you've got in the stack. Make sure you scroll down and get them all selected. We're going to go up to Edit. Now you've got two options here. You can see you've got auto align layers and you've got auto blend layers. And just so you know, if you don't select the layers in the layers panel, you will not see these here. So the layers panel, if it's not showing, just go up there and make sure you check layers from window. So once you've got that selected, go to Edit. Auto align layers, I'm not going to do it on this one just because there's 25 layers to it, and it does seem to really it really taxes my computer, and it seems to stall out a little bit, so we're not going to do the auto align. Hopefully there might be a little bit of droop with the flowers as they've kind of settled a little bit. Depending on what you're shooting, you will determine whether or not you need to do the auto align layers. You know, if you're doing a landscape with nothing moving, you probably don't need that. But depending, if you've got a little bit of movement, you will want to hit that. But for this one, I'm not going to do that. So we're just going to do auto blend layers. So normally what you do auto align layers, Once you've done that, then you can go auto blend layers. I said the two process is going to take a good amount of time in order to do that. But for this one, we're going to do auto blend layers. We're not going to do auto align for this one. And we're going to do a stack images. We're not doing a panorama for this. And I keep seamless tones and colors and content aware fill transparent areas. Probably not necessary for this sort of use. That would be more for panoramas where you might have a little bit of movement as you're doing your rotation for the panorama. You might need the content aware fill a little bit more, but for this one you probably won't for this sort of use. But we're going to keep it checked anyway. And we're going to hit OK. And again, depending on the computer, depending on how large the focus stack is, this will take anywhere from 5 minutes to an hour potentially or more. So yeah, just so you keep in mind, this might take a bit of time. Again, make sure you've got, in Photoshop, you want to make sure you have your graphics card enabled. That will definitely speed this process up. And also making sure you have, trying to run this faster SSD drive will definitely help make things everything gets sped up when you're not kind of avoiding the bottlenecks per se. Okay, so now that Photoshop has done the stack, you'll notice now that it has at the top there, it has a single layer above all of the stacked layers where it says merged. So this is really nice. They make it so that you can now do any editing you want on that single layer. For example, I like to sharpen through Topaz Sharpen, and I can just take this one layer into Topaz Sharpen to do my sharpening. You can also do any sort of adjustments on this single layer, whether from an exposure standpoint, for saturation, all of that can be done from that single layer. So it's really nice and simple. And then if you look close, you'll notice how each of these, so if you undo this one, it's still, you still see the focus stack looking all as one. But you'll notice how each of these layers just has little bits of it showing. That is the part in focus that Photoshop has selected for the focus stack. This is Photoshop's not perfect in stacking. I know a lot of people like to use Helicon for their stacking software. I found it also had similar issues that you do need to, if you were to wanting to make a huge print, you'd probably want to go into each of these layers and selectively pick the focus, the parts that are in focus, and do really carefully go through the file. But you can see that you can just see how much detail is in this shot. We'll just kind of open up the, so this is the sharpened layer now, where this has been put through Topaz Sharpen, and you can just see how much detail right through to the back of the flowers. You see that all the edges of the flowers in the background there, right through the stem, or the, I'm not a botanist, but you can see all the way through how much detail there is in this entire image. Basically front to back of the flower is now fully in focus. And when you zoom in, though, this is at 100%. This example of where you can see there's a little bit of a gap in the stack here where it's a bit flat. And he said you could go through and really perfect this depending on what your end use was going to be. But there will be some imperfection in it, just to be aware of. But yeah, quite incredible for the amount of detail. So now we're gonna have, what we'll do is I'll open up the just the single stack here. So a great way to compare the pixel shift to just the focus shift is we're going to put the stacked non-pixel shift photo on top of the pixel shift combined with the stacked photo, just to give you an idea of the detail. I understand that with YouTube and the compression of video, it's going to be really difficult to get across how much more details in these shots. So what I'm going to do is leave a link down below to my website where I will put all of these photos in a folder that you can actually download them all, and you can kind of have a look at them on your own computer just to see how much more details in it, to see whether or not it makes sense for you to give it a go. Okay, let's copy that. So right away you can see the difference in how much larger the pixel shift image is. It's quite amazing to see here just visually. So when so a great way to do this test is to stretch the just the regular stacked photo to be the same size as the pixel shift photo. So now basically have the one layer on top of the other, and we can kind of zoom in to 100%. So this is the stacked photograph. And then this is the pixel shift photograph. There's a great, when you look at that right here, you can really see, so that's just the regular stacked photograph versus the pixel shift. You can see just how much more detail is in that section of the flower. The stacked photo is pretty good. Like, you won't need the pixel shift for all uses, but say if you're doing that huge print, it definitely is worthwhile there. So this is the stacked photo, the regular stacked photo, and then that's the pixel shift photo. So you can see there is definitely more detail. So that's the stacked, and then that's the pixel shift. You can just see how much, like the finer details for sure. Okay, so let's take a look. We'll take a look at a couple of the other shots real quick. With these, it's really difficult to demonstrate these on YouTube because of the video compression. So I'll leave links to the files down below where you can download full-size JPEGs of each of these images, and you can do some comparison on your own computer to give you an idea of just how much more detail is actually being resolved. So this is an amazing shot of this daisy here. And this is not shot with a macro lens. If you had the 105 macro and you did this process with that lens, it would be truly incredible. Like I said, this is my 200 to 500. It's a great close-up lens, but it's definitely not anywhere near the resolving power of a new macro lens by any means. With shooting with the long lens especially, that you have such shallow depth of field, so the focus stack is just amazing. And say when you combine it with the pixel shift, it's pretty incredible the amount of detail you get on these shots. And then finally the moth here, and this one was a lot of fun. So again, you can just see here how the top layer is just the regular stacked, and then the one behind it is the pixel shifted. So you can just see how much of an enlargement it really is. So we go to 100% here. And then we can compare it to the pixel shifted photo for how much more detail is there. It's pretty amazing. Considering this is not a macro lens, it's a pretty awesome level of resolution in this photograph. You know, just seeing the hair detail and everything else there, you know, when you compare it to how, you know, it's a big difference. This is how you use pixel shift with focus shift shooting on the Nikon Z8 from the new Nikon firmware 3.0. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps me grow the channel. I'll leave a link down below if you want to help me get a hold of one of those Z lenses. I'll leave a link down below if you want to donate to the channel to pay to my PayPal. Help me kind of get my hands on a new Z lens so I can showcase how to do the focus limiter for setup shooting and things like that, which is an awesome tool for wildlife photography. So yeah, thanks again for joining me, folks. I hope you liked it. And until next time, we'll see you out there. Take care.